Japanese teenagers will share one small bedroom with a brother right up until the day they leave for university, and most of them will tell you they have never had a real fight about it. American families do the opposite. Separate rooms, separate screens, separate everything. More space every year, and the fighting only gets louder. So what if the space you are buying for your children is the exact thing feeding the war? There is a wind-up kitchen timer sitting on the shelf above my sink. Plastic, white, about $12. There is a scratch on the face of it from the year my youngest daughter knocked it off the counter. That timer has done more to keep peace between my 4 children than every word I ever said to them. It does not know that. It just ticks. My name is Hiroshi Tanaka. I taught elementary school in Matsumoto, in Nagano Prefecture, for 31 years. Somewhere near 1,000 children came through my classroom. I raised 4 of my own in a house, with 2 rooms, 1 low table, and 1 bathroom. My 2 sons shared a room until the older one was 19 years old. In all that time, I never once heard the sentence, "That is mine." I am going to tell you exactly what we do, in the order we do it, what it costs, and when to start. Then I am going to tell you the part that should make you uneasy, which is that almost everything American parents are told about brothers and sisters, give them space, give them their own room, be fair, treat them the same, is not simply useless, it is the fuel. Stay with me. By the end of this, you will have 6 things you can start tonight, in your own kitchen, for the price of 1 timer. And in 90 days, your house will sound different. None of it costs money. And I want that clear before we start. There is no program, no counselor, no bigger house, no chart on the refrigerator with gold stickers on it. 4 of the 6 things I am going to give you cost nothing at all, and the other 2 together come to about $15, one time, for good. Let me start with my own failure, because I did it the wrong way first, and I did it for years. Quick word before I go further. The old methods my family uses, there is more of it than fits in any one video. I gathered the whole of it into a book you can buy in our pinned comment below. The book is the long version. If you want it, it is there. I will not mention it again. It was the summer of 1987. My sons were 9 and 7. They came into the front room shouting about a model kit, a plastic tank the older one had built and the younger one had broken the barrel off of. I did what a reasonable man does. I sat them both down. I asked who started it. I listened to one, then the other. I asked questions. I weighed it. It took me 20 minutes, and I was proud of those 20 minutes, because I was being fair. I ruled against the older boy. He had pushed first. I made him apologize. The younger one sat there with his face very still, and I did not understand at the time what that face was. My mother lived with us then. She had been in the next room the whole time with her sewing. That night, after the boys were asleep, she said one sentence to me, and then went to bed. She said, "You have just shown them where the courthouse is." 3 days later, they fought again, louder, and this time I noticed something. They did not fight in the garden, they did not fight in their room. They came into the front room, where I was sitting, and they fought there. So here is the question I could not answer for another 2 years. Why did it get worse every single time I was fair? Here is the answer, and it took me until I was teaching a class of 38 children to see it. Children do not fight over the thing, they fight over the ruling. Watch it yourself. Watch where the fight happens. Almost every serious fight between brothers and sisters happens inside earshot of a parent. Ask any school teacher and they will tell you the same. Out in the yard with no adult near, 2 children argue for 90 seconds and then go back to playing, because there is nobody there to win in front of. Bring an adult within 20 feet, and the same argument becomes a trial. Volume goes up. Tears arrive. Both children start talking in complete sentences about what is fair, which is not how children talk when they are actually angry. The thing they are fighting for is not the tank. It is not the seat in the car or the last piece of bread. It is you. Your attention, your verdict, your face when you decide. That is the scarce thing in the house. And the child who wins the ruling has just been told in front of the other one that he is the better child. Nobody forgets that. Nobody. Now understand what fairness does on top of that. When a parent works very hard to be exactly equal, the same number of gifts, the same minutes, the same slice, the child learns that equal is the measurement. And once equal is the measurement, every small difference becomes evidence of a crime. You have not raised 2 children, you have raised 2 auditors, and they will audit you and each other for the next 15 years, and every audit finding gets brought to your desk. That is the counterintuitive part. Fairness does not cool a house down. Fairness teaches children to keep score. Now I have to be honest with you here. because there is a story going around the internet that Japanese children never fight, and it is not true. We have a word, kyodai, genka, and it means exactly what you think it means. A brother and sister fight. Anyone who tells you they have not been in a Japanese house at 7 in the morning while two children argue about a hairbrush. Ours fight. The difference is not the fight. The difference is the 10 minutes after the fight and who is standing in the room during it. There is an idea in our language, uchi and soto. Inside and outside. Your family is uchi. Inside. It is not a group of individuals who happen to live together and compete for resources. It is one thing, and you are a part of it, the way your hand is part of you. When you fight your brother, you are not trying to beat an opponent. You are putting a hole in the wall of the house you sleep in. Even if you win, you sleep in a house with a hole in it. No child understands that from a lecture. They learn it from the shape of the days. That is what the 6 steps are for. The first step is the one that sounds ridiculous, so I will explain it before you dismiss it. You take their names away. In our house, the younger child does not call the older child by his name. He calls him Oni-chan, which means older brother, or Oni-chan, older sister. He will do this his whole life. My daughter is 51 years old and she still calls her brother Oni-chan on the telephone. But the older child does use the younger one's name. That part matters. It is not equal, and it is not supposed to be. Here is the trick. That word is not politeness. It is a job description. Every time the small one says it, the big one is reminded, 30 times a day, that he holds a rank. And rank has duties. And the small one is reminded that he is the one who is looked after. You cannot easily go to war with someone whose title you say out loud before every sentence. You do not need Japanese words. Use whatever your family will say without laughing. Some American families already do this. Brother, sissy, bub. Any rank word works. A name does not, because a name is just a label for an equal. It feels foolish for about 4 days. Give it 3 weeks. Then listen for the day the little one uses it without being reminded, and you will feel the floor move. The second step is the hard one, and it is the whole video, really. You fire yourself as the judge. From tonight, you do not hear cases. A child comes to you with a report, he took it, she started it, and you do not investigate. You do not ask who started it. You never ask who started it again, as long as you live. You have one line and you say it flat, with no anger, and then you go back to what you were doing. In our house, it is futari de kimenasai. The two of you decide it. In English, say it however you like. The two of you work it out. I am not hearing it. Same words every time, so they stop testing. Here is the trick, and this is where most parents fall down in week 1. If there is any consequence at all, it lands on both of them. Identical. Every time. If the shouting is too loud, both lose the television, not one. The second you give the older one a bigger consequence because he is older, or the younger one a smaller one because he is small, you have put your robe back on and opened the court, and they will be back in front of your desk tomorrow. 2 things are not fights, and you do step in for them. Blood or danger and cruelty that repeats, the same child ground down day after day. You step into those as a parent, but you still do not rule on who started it. Third step, 6 minutes and 1 timer. In Japanese schools, there are almost no janitors. The children clean the school themselves, every day, about 15 minutes, in small groups we call han. Sweeping, wiping the floor on their hands and knees, washing the sinks, the whole building, 6-year-olds and 15-year-olds both. It is called osoji. Nobody thinks it is strange. It is simply what school is. At home, do the small version. Every evening, one job that belongs to a pair. The table, the kitchen floor, the shoes at the door. Set the timer for 6 minutes. Both work. When it rings, it is finished, whether or not it is perfect. The trick is that the pair is one unit, and you never split it in your mouth. You do not say, you did more than your sister. You do not say, thank you for doing it while he sat there. You say, the table is done, and you say nothing else. If one child does nothing for 4 evenings, say nothing. By the 5th evening, the other child will handle it, and he will handle it in a way you could never have handled it for him. And that is the point of the whole exercise. Use a mechanical wind-up timer, the kind that ticks, about $12 at any hardware store. Not a phone. The ticking does something a silent screen cannot do. It puts a third thing in the room that is not either child and is not you, and both of them are working against it instead of each other. 4th step, and this is the one that goes against every piece of advice you have been given. You shrink the space on purpose. We have a phrase for how a family sleeps. Kawa no ji, the character for river, which is 3 lines. Parent, children, parent. In a great many Japanese homes, the children sleep in the same room, on futons, for years longer than an American child would. Not because we cannot afford walls, because the walls do not help. You do not have to change where anyone sleeps. Start with 1 hour. 1 table, both children, homework or drawing or nothing at all, in the same 3 square feet. Every evening, no screens on that table. The trick is the reason, and it is not togetherness, it is repetitions. 2 children at 1 small table have to negotiate 100 tiny things a week. Elbow room. Whose turn with the good pencil? Who is humming? Every one of those is a rep, a small ordinary problem solved without you. And a child who has done 4,000 reps by the age of 12 simply does not know how to have a screaming fight. He has no practice at it. A child raised in his own room with his own door has done almost none. 5th step. Give the older one real power and real blame. There is a television program in Japan called Hajimete no Otsukai, The First Errand. It has been running since 1991. They send a child of 2, 3, 4 years old to the shops alone, with a list, and film it from a distance. Every family in the country has watched it. Nobody calls the police. Do the small version. Send both children to the shop, together with a $10 bill. The older one holds the money, the older one answers for what happens. The trick is, 2 rules you must not break. Do not rescue them, and do not count the change. If they come back with the wrong thing, you ask the older one, and only the older one, what he wants to do about it. What happens in that walk is that the older child is handed something real, and the younger one watches him carry it. Rank stops being a word you made them say, and becomes something the little one has actually seen with his own eyes. 6th step, the repair, and it takes 20 seconds. We call it nakanori, making it good again. It is not a conversation, and it is not an apology in the way you are thinking. The 2 of them stand facing each other. Each one says 1 sentence about what he himself did. Only what he did. Not 1 word about the other. I shouted at you. I broke your pencil. That is all. Then both bow, small, and it is done. Small children can hook little fingers on it, which we call yubikiri, a pinky promise. The trick belongs to you, not to them. Once nakanori is done, that fight is dead, and the person most likely to dig it back up is the parent. Never mention it again. Not at dinner, not next week, when a new fight starts. Not as an example, not in front of a grandmother, not ever. If a child learns that a settled thing can be brought back out of the drawer anytime you want leverage, he will never settle anything honestly again. 90 days. And I will tell you the shape of it so you are not surprised. The first 2 weeks are worse, sometimes much worse, because they will test whether the court is really closed. Around week 3, the tattling stops and the quiet feels strange. By month 3, you will hear them settle something in the next room in about 11 seconds. And you will stand in your kitchen holding a dish and feel like you did nothing at all. You did the hardest thing. You kept your mouth shut. Now let me tell you why any of this matters. Because it is not about a quiet house. Your children's relationship with each other is the longest relationship either of them will ever have. Longer than yours, with them, by 30 or 40 years. Longer, for most people, than a marriage. You are there for the first 20 years of it, and then you are gone, and it runs on for another 50 without you. And there is a day coming that nobody wants to think about. There will be a room, and a doctor or a lawyer, and 2 grown people who have to sit down and decide about you. The house, the money, which home you go into, whether they take you in. I have watched families where the brothers and sisters could not speak to each other. And I will tell you plainly what happens. The lawyers get paid. The house gets sold. Grandchildren grow up never meeting cousins who live 40 minutes away. And the old parent lies in a bed somewhere, while the 2 people who love him most cannot be in the same room to visit. That is the bill. It comes due in about 40 years, and it is enormous. And it is being decided right now in your kitchen, over a pencil, by whether or not you walk in and rule. Here is the thing my mother said to me that I did not understand until I was 60. You are not raising 2 children who need to get along. You are raising the 2 people who will stand at the back of the room after I am gone and decide whether this family carries on. So tonight, here is what I want you to do. Just one thing. The next time they come to you shouting, do not ask who started it. Say your one line, the 2 of you decide it, and turn back to the sink. Say nothing else. Do not look at either of them. It will be the hardest 90 seconds of your week. Then come back and tell me in the comments where you live, how many children you have, and their ages. and whether you manage to keep your mouth shut for one whole week. I read them. I want to know how it goes in an American house, because I have only ever done it in a Japanese one. Next time, I am going to tell you about my mother and the front door. 3 words she said to each of us every single morning as we put our shoes on, and 1 question she never asked when we came home. Not once in 20 years. Those 2 things together are the reason 4 children told her the truth about everything for 40 years. It costs nothing, and it takes 4 seconds, and almost nobody outside our country does it. Until then, keep the timer wound, keep the court closed, and remember that the quietest houses are not the ones with the most rooms.